And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, hope you enjoyed that brutal OST. Hope you enjoyed that break, because we have returned with the second half of the broadcast. We just wrapped up with a couple of spicy matches. We just wrapped up with Spirit versus Baby Marine, as well as Jumi versus Stefano, and now we are here with a spicy PvT between some of the stronger players here in the group, between ShoWTimE and Spirit. Let's go. Again, ShoWTimE considered by many to be the second, one of the best Protosses in Europe, top 2 alongside MaxPax. Likewise, Spirit is top 3 Terran in Europe as well. Arguably top 2 Terran, arguably. But he has been definitely on the rise here this year. I can't say that anymore. He's been on the rise throughout 2023 and looking to pop off in the new year as well, especially now that he's on a new team. But here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the German Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Berlin International Gaming, BIG. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Terran player, the Red Terran, representing his new team, Na'Vi. It is Spirit. And we did feature earlier today Spirit versus Baby Marine, and he was shown to bleed. He was shown that he is mortal, and Baby Marine was able to bring him to the ace match. Very impressive performance out of Baby Marine, but Spirit was able to get a handle on the series overall and have a more dominant end of that best of 3. But we'll see if he's warmed up enough to face off against ShoWTimE. Again, this is going to be his second his second TVP of the group. Earlier in the group, last week when we casted the first half, Skillus was able to bring down Spirit in quite a fashion as well, but Skillus also has a very unique playstyle. Skillus is a very stylistic player in general, so we'll see how ShoWTimE approaches the Terran versus Protoss matchup. For now, going for a Gate Cyber Expand, standard opener here from ShoWTimE. Likewise, Spirit going for an economic opener as well, going for a Rax Expand. We don't have a double gas opener, which we have seen rise and fall in popularity over the past couple of years in TVP. I feel like there's like one season where all the Terrans going for double gas, and there's another season where no Terran is, and yeah, we just have an economic opener overall. Just calming things down, easing into the early to mid game. Let's go. Easing into our game here. Of course, ShoWTimE is going to be looking to get a read on this. Looking at his vision, no probe scout actually. Interesting. I mean, this makes sense. So Spirit very much so has a reputation. Spirit, he is known for very macro play and very greedy play. Both things are typically apply to Spirit. So even though ShoWTimE didn't probe scout, which can be risky against Spirit, I think you can get away with this. Like, you can cut some corners, you can take some risks, and you can, in a way, hope and pray that you're not going to be all in and your opponent won't be aggressive, but Spirit typically won't be. ShoWTimE gets across the map with his Adept, getting his first eye at the natural. Will confirm the Marines, the bunker on the low ground, and the timing of the CC. As he does get eyes on everything. Meanwhile, behind this, we have our tech of choice. ShoWTimE not going for a Twilight Council, he's going for a Stargate opener. I feel like this is typically reserved for larger maps, so to go for this on Golden Aura can be risky, especially considering that there are a lot of aggressive builds on this map specifically. Because the rush distance by ground is so short, we've seen an abundance of like Cyclone-based all-ins and Cyclone-based builds trying to break your opponents, going for a tank drop opener as well, or a tank push. But I guess I should also fall back on what I said earlier, right, where Spirit isn't really that kind of aggressive player traditionally or typically. So we just have a Stargate opener. We're going to be building up the Phoenix count. A very safe way to open up here from ShoWTimE. It can be risky and you can be vulnerable here in the early game, but once your Phoenix count gets up to like 3, 4, 5 Phoenixes, you'll be pretty safe. You'll be able to shut down, drop play, micro get your opponent, harass the mineral line, and behind this, we should be getting into rover production, into Robotics Bay, into Colossus. If you're familiar with TVP for the past couple of years, you know Phoenix Colossus is like the stock standard. It's like the meta way to play. Of course, there are deviations, you know, with like Blake Stalker based openers and like gate expands, or like 2 gates into a 3rd base and stuff like that. But Phoenix Colossus is kind of the bread and butter and the tried and true. We have the Immortal first, just to be safe, just so we have an army, and this should be leading into a bay. And there it is. There's the bay on the way for the Colossi. Behind this, after the bay gets thrown down, we have the third base soon to be taken here by ShoWTimE. Again, ShoWTimE taking a very defensive stance overall. And I should also talk about ShoWTimE's reputation. You know, I spoke about how, like, Spirit, he's kind of known for a certain play style. Ooh, as he's building up towards a 3-1-1. He's kind of known for something. Likewise, so is ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE also isn't the most aggressive player. That is sometimes not the case in PvP. We have seen ShoWTimE all in against Protoss players before and be hyper aggressive. But ShoWTimE, you know, he has the nickname. He's the wall, the Mao, if you will. Just turtling up and taking his third. Meanwhile, across the map, Spirit did go for an early medevac. So I'm a little bit perplexed. With this early medevac, I thought he was going for a drop. Earlier, I was about to freak out and be like, yo, are we going for like a tank drop early on? The answer is no. We're just chilling back at home. We have the medevac, but because of all these Phoenixes, we can't really go for a drop. It's so risky to do so. So Spirit, he's still stuck at home. Does have a 3-1-1 setup, 3 axes, 1 factory, 1 starport. Pretty standard here on 2 bases. Pieces they dip in, and they get 2 SCVs. But looking pretty standard here on 2 bases. We're just going to be building up, working towards a stim timing, and then we can push. We can do one of 2 things. We can commit to a push on 2 bases, or we can throw down a 3rd CC. As the Phoenix is once again dipping into the bases. Ooh, they do take a mine shot to the face, though. I was looking for that winner mine. As the shot does go off, and here we go. Spirit can look to push out. As he maneuvers, though, we have a 3rd CC on the way. Does throw down his 3rd base as he moves out. And what do we have at home to defend? We have the first Colossus, we have sentries for force fields, we have a shield battery for overcharge. Second Colossus is going to come out just in time for this push. So far, everything looking solid for ShoWTimE. He doesn't have eyes on the army. He did lose a Phoenix earlier, so he did lose a bit of map control. Phoenixes, they did turn back around. And we do see Spirit rotating over towards the right-hand side. Pushing towards the 3rd base. Colossi are in position. Tanks do siege. Tanks are within range of the Nexus. Big volley is going to be going off. The 2nd Colossus has arrived. We can go for the dive. We can pick up these tanks. Nexus taking a lot of damage. Here we go, ShoWTimE. He wants to commit. He wants to collapse on this. Phoenixes, they literally lift every single tank. The tanks, they're rendered inert. The Marines, they're being annihilated here by the Colossi. And the tanks are going down one after the other. A good cleanup here from ShoWTimE. Meanwhile, Spirit, with what little he has left, he does drop into the main with a handful of Marines. But we shouldn't be able to get much done here. Yeah, good cleanup overall. And hopefully, oh, actually, we're going to commit. Oh my god, we're going for a double drop here towards the natural. Rotate over, heading towards that natural base. Looking at the trades, that was 3 tanks, 3 Marauders for Phoenixes, essentially. Not the best trade from Spirit. He shut down the Phoenixes. Here comes that double drop, but we have a Colossus in position. ShoWTimE is in position. Swats this away. Yeah, did leave some supply back at home to defend. He is forced to cancel, though. Good pickoff. The Marauders do cancel a base. Keeping an eye on the economy of ShoWTimE. At the same time, the 3rd base is getting up and running, and Spirit, he is reinforcing, is not slowing down. His goal here is to break ShoWTimE. Can he pull it off, though? Getting ready for a split push. Meanwhile, Templar Archive is on the way, so we're looking to refine our splash damage. We have Colossi, soon to get into Archons, maybe Storm. We're rebuilding our Phoenix counts, as it was reset. That is spotted by the Zealot. Oh my god. Mine's going to be going off, trying to force some friendly fire. As Spirit is forced back. Okay, he doesn't have enough to engage. Cannot break this position. ShoWTimE so far doing a great job of just keeping up with the movement here of his opponent. Forcing him back time and time again. Now, ShoWTimE has still yet to move out. He's just been defending. He's been keeping up with all the punches, with all the blows. So far, successfully so. Did delay his fourth, that is true, but it's about to finish up. Meanwhile, Spirit, likewise, didn't overcommit here towards the end. Was able to retain most of his army. Getting into a second starport for double, I imagine, Viking production. Getting into Vikings, eventually into Liberators. Ghost production has commenced. Spirit transitioning nicely here, taking up into Ghost Viking. That's a lot of Marauders. Meanwhile, we've gone up to 4 Colossus. Oh my god. 4 Colossus. And here we go. ShoWTimE has had enough defending. It's now time to push out. He has his 4th base up and running. He's committed. And he's going to chase this all the way back to the natural, just zoning Spirit away from his own 3rd base. The Zealots are getting to the mineral line. The Zealots, they do bust in. So far, good bunker there. Going to be able to hold the line. But the Colossi, they reign supreme. They swipe away at the Bio Army. We still need to break that bunker, though. There we go. 1 Colossus does fall, but we get 7 SCVs. The Vikings looking for another. Zealots going ham. ShoWTimE, upon losing a Colossus, we have to back up. Never mind. We want some more. Yeah, it's reinforcing, going for another big warp in. Disruptors are on the way. Oh, but the juggling! The juggling from ShoWTimE does protect his Colossus, does keep them alive. Mine shot goes up. And we're pushing into the natural. He's going for the kill. ShoWTimE, he ignores the 3rd base, goes straight for the natural instead. Boys are being pulled. A lot of SCVs are going down, but the Vikings, they wreak havoc and they shut down every single Colossus. The Prism goes down as well. Big overextension from ShoWTimE. And Spirit, he takes a good fight. Again, I'm shocked that ShoWTimE decided to go straight for the natural. Like, getting the 3rd would have been good enough, but no, he smelled blood. Blood that maybe was his own. And now suddenly ShoWTimE is in a really rough position. Looking at the units, looking at the army, he's down to 2 Disruptors, down to 1 Immortal, no more Colossi. Spirit, he has a lot of momentum on his side. He is up in armor supply. Now is the time to push. Now, you could argue that a lot of the supply for Spirit is kind of dead supply in these Vikings. The Vikings, they don't really add too much, but they can always land. They can always harass and be a part of the main army. To say that 4th Nexus is being scouted. Spirit's still going to be pulling back here, reinforcing. And he is allowing ShoWTimE to build up his army once again. Now to 3 Disruptors. ShoWTimE, he's recovering. And if given enough time, he will be able to remax. Meanwhile, here come the Libs. That's what we were waiting for. Waiting for the Liberators. The Liberation has arrived. Let's go. Big connection there from the Novas. Zealots, they get on top of the army as well. We have plenty of Blink Stalkers. The Liberators are doing a lot of damage, though. The Nova connects with the Vikings. And the Zealot army just wreaks havoc, cleans up the ground army. We clean up the Liberators as well. ShoWTimE, he takes a fight. Again, the Novas were insane. The Vikings, they're doing what they can. Now, this is dangerous. Now, what just happened here is Spirit threw away every single Viking. He threw them all away, which means we can go back into Colossus. Colossus production was inaccessible just because of how many Vikings there were. But looking at the units tab, yeah, 0 Vikings left. So if ShoWTimE wants to, we can go back into Colossus instead. He still only has 1 robo. There we go. I was like, he's still making 1 unit at a time, but we have a 2nd robo. Should be getting back into that. The Ghost Scout getting higher and higher. And Spirit, he had momentum, but he has since lost it. Like, that was a brutal fight, and he didn't touch the 4th base, didn't touch the economy. Fusion Core is on the way, so we're working towards Liberator range. But upon losing that army, yeah, Spirit, he just doesn't really have much of a presence, not anymore. He is stuck on his side of the map, taking another base though, taking a 4th. Sorry, taking a 5th even. 4th is already up and running. And there it is, Colossus. Like, as we mentioned, because the Viking count was reset, Colossus suddenly are that much more powerful. Yeah, that much more viable. And looking at the army, we haven't gone back into Vikings yet. I mean, to be fair, we don't know that we need to, but soon we will. Soon we will realize. As for now, we're just focusing on Liberators instead. But that's why it's important that we already have Blink Stalkers. Phoenixes will help, I guess. I don't know how fond I am of committing back into Phoenixes like this. We'll see. Nice CMP here on the Stalkers. Whoever's going to be zoning back the army. Likewise, once in, there we go. We have revealed the Colossus. But at this point, we have to commit to Liberators. There we go. +2 ship weapons on the way. ShoWTimE just gaining map control, maxing out at this point. What am I run off? This one am I doing? A big EMPs here on the Stalkers, but we dive on in anyway. We take down 2 Medivacs. Good pickups from ShoWTimE. Spirit trying to collapse on this position. That was going to be going up. Zoning back Spirit. We do zone him away. Spirit double expanding, taking his 5th and his 6th at the same time here. 6th on location. A little bit greedy there from Spirit. We'll see if we can get away with it. See if he can get away with it here. Spirit trying to come in from behind. He is spotted by ShoWTimE. Again, there's an observer in position. Does spot the army. Never goes off. Gets a Marauder. Both armies have maxed. How many Liberators do we have? We have 4. Ooh. I'm a little bit surprised that the Lib count is so low. Despite being maxed out here, and here we go, we're pushing in. Liberators are being used to harass instead. ShoWTimE going to be able to force this back. Liberators getting damage done. The Liberators towards the left-hand side was dealt with. This Lib here killing a couple of workers, denying mining time. Instead, Spirit, he's hyper-fixated here on his ground army. There we go. As he's bleeding out units, Liberators are replacing them. Which is good, but is it... Are they going to come out in time? That's a thing. Oh, the D... My apologies. I didn't notice the mass DTs, and oh my god, these start the Invisible Man! They're wreaking havoc here across the map. 9 SCVs go down. The main armies will be clashing. And we have taken down the Planetary. Liberators force the siege back at home. My brain just blanked on seeing all those DTs earlier. What is this, 2020? 2020? Oh my god. It's been a while. Lives being dealt with. 7 probes went down. ShoWTimE is max. Coming in once again. He dives on the army. Gets the ghosts. Big pickoffs. Big pickoffs here from the Dark Templar. They win the fight. They force a kill, not a cancel. 400 minerals down the drain. We get an EMP, but the DTs will escape. Meanwhile, at the same time, the Planetary has been spotted. ShoWTimE has eyes on the 6th base. There it goes up. Gold is on the way here for ShoWTimE. DTs are still alive. And Spirit, he is so far out of position. This northern base, it's so exposed. It's going to go down. It was a cheeky move trying to rush into it, but it will fall. And Spirit, he can go for a base trade. Like, he's going to lose 14 SCVs, which is brutal. But we can go for a counterattack. There we go. He goes for the stim, goes for the dive. We'll get on top of this 3rd base, and ShoWTimE, he can recall. Will he, though? Will he recall? DTs, they come back in. They catch so many reinforcements, and ShoWTimE, he will take down another Planetary. And a recall is always available. ShoWTimE gets 2 bases. Spirit only gets 1. And ShoWTimE, yeah, he can commit. Oh! Looks like there was a bit of a pause mid-game. Looks like everything is good. They fixed it. We do dive into the natural base. At the same time, the 3rd base is going to be going down. Spirit going to be losing so many CCs. And this is why it's so difficult to base trade a Protoss, because Spirit, he's down to 1 base, and ShoWTimE, he can always recall. He just always recall back home. He was never under any kind of threat here of losing everything back at home either. The main base is going to fall, that's true. ShoWTimE, he can just chill. If Spirit ever does threaten some of these other fringe bases, then we can, of course, just teleport back home here. Top right is being taken, gateways as well. And now, how does Spirit get out of here? That's the question, because here comes ShoWTimE. And Spirit, he's kind of stuck. Thankfully, he does have another army. That's a lot of libs. Oh, the DTs. Do we have a scan? Okay, we do. Do you have a scan available? Do you have that scan? We dive up into the main base. Liberator's going to be going down, and from here we can focus on the medevacs. Yeah, the army is going to be cleaned up. Good trades here. We pick off 1 disruptor. And 2 full medevacs do manage to get out. At the same time, here comes the main army of Spirit, top right. Now, Spirit, he has no economy. He's down to 6 workers. He has no more economy. He's completely all in, but that's a lot of freedom. And you know what? Who needs money when you have this much freedom? Spirit. But he needs resources. It's fine. We take down top right. How many liberators? 10! 10 libs, man. It's going to be so difficult to push into this without anti-air. Cybercore went down, which means we cannot warp in any stalkers. What you see is what you get. What is it? 8 stalkers, 2 phoenixes. Oh my god, so bold here. GG is going to get called. Single G even, as ShoWTimE takes game number 1. GG, Papi. Ay, ay, ay. Solid game out of ShoWTimE. I mean, to be fair, it was a back and forth. It was a back. Remember, there was that moment, winding it back to, what, 10 minutes ago, when ShoWTimE overextended, when he successfully defended his 4 bases. And remember, there was that moment when he moved out, when he hit the 3rd base with 4 Colossi. And when he made a bit of a misjudgment there, and when he pushed into the natural as well, he overextended, pushing into the natural, and ShoWTimE lost everything. He lost all of his Colossi, he lost most of his ground army as well. And in that moment, Spirit took, I want to say, a 30 supply lead. Like, he was looking strong from that point. And if you remember, he didn't counterattack immediately. He was waiting for liberators. He waited for 2 libs, and then he pushed. So he did give ShoWTimE a little bit of time to rebuild, and in doing so, gave ShoWTimE a moment to get back into that game. On top of that, the eventual push from Spirit was lackluster. He took a massive Nova to the face, he lost his entire army, and he didn't break the 4th base of ShoWTimE. I'm sorry, it was the 5th base of ShoWTimE at the time. Didn't break the 5th base, didn't trade well against the army. It was a bit of a blundered attack from Spirit in the aftermath of ShoWTimE's overextension, and GG. GG, well played. ShoWTimE, he brought it back, took it in the end, and does take a 1-0 lead. But here we go, we're looking to dive into game number 2. Número 2. Let's go. Getting into game 2. Gonna be on Hecate. Spirit used to crushing toss, maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's because Spirit knew that he was ahead. Like, he knew that he was in a good position, and then it slipped away. So I would understand the frustrations from our Terran player here. If he was just a little bit frustrated at that game, just because, you know, he at one point did have a lead, and it did fall by the wayside. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hecate, we have the German Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Berlin International Gaming, BIG. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Red Terran player, representing Team Na'Vi. Down in the series, looking to fight back, looking to force that ace match. It is Spirit. We go. As we load into one of the more defensive maps in the map pool, the rush distance by ground is actually quite short, but there are a lot of bases to take, and there are a lot of choke points. Like, this map has so many choke points in the center of the map, whether it's here at the bridges, whether it's here at the ramp leading up into the bases, whether it's the other ramp on the right-hand side. There's so many points of elevation. A very defensive map, and a map that I'm sure both players will be willing to embrace and take into a longer game. We'll see. For now, once again, Spirit 2 games in a row, going for a Rax Expand. Economic opener here out of Spirit. Once again, he did not take a second Gas Geyser. So, not going to be too aggressive here in the early game. As ShoWTimE does delay the expansion for a couple of seconds, but not for too much longer. Meanwhile, across the map, ShoWTimE just going to be going for his own Gate Cyber Expand. Going for his own standard economic opener as well. Everything going to be looking as it should. Oh, nothing too spicy here in the early game. Now, winding it back, if you recall, last game, ShoWTimE went for a Stargate opener into Phoenixes, into Colossus. Oh, this time we are shaking it up, though. Okay, ShoWTimE avoiding the Stargate, avoiding those Phoenixes, and going into a Twilight Council instead. Now, this should be Blink, but how aggressive do we want to be? When it comes to Blink-based openers, there's 2-gate Blink, 3-gate Blink, and 4-gate Blink. And each one is, of course, more economic than the other. Each one has kind of different forms of aggression, different styles of play. So we'll see how hard ShoWTimE commits. Now, because it's ShoWTimE, I imagine this is just going to be a 2-gate Blink opener into a third base, but we'll see. As the Twilight Council is done, and Blink is on the horizon. Blink is being produced. Behind this, we do have a 1-1-1 follow-up here from Spirit. Ooh, investing into Hellions, actually. Okay. Bold move here, but we are going for a dive. And we're going for a medevac as well. Let's go. So a bit of a more assertive opener here from Spirit. Now, it takes 3 Hellions to one-shot a probe. For those who are curious, 3 Hellions to one-shot a worker. With 4 Hellions, of course, we have more than enough. Our goal here is to break into a mineral line. Now, the Hellions were spotted. Some of them were, so ShoWTimE already walling off. He's building up a wall here on the low ground. Likewise, he will need units in the main base because with this medevac, we can go for a Hellion drop into the main as well. So we'll see if Spirit can make some magic happen here. We have Marines in the medevacs. We have Hellions on the ground. It's going to be on ShoWTimE to split up his units. So far, he has a shield battery in the low ground. He has a safety shield battery in the main base as well. He's splitting up his units. Again, such a good read out of ShoWTimE. He is in position for whatever comes his way, whether it's the drop into the main or the push into the natural. And here we go, Spirit going for the natural. Good hold position. Stalkers, they do hold on, but the Hellions, they slip in. They do slip by those Stalkers. They go straight for the mineral line as well. Good target firing, but the Hellions, they do get into the main. We try to wall off. 1 probe goes down. 3 workers in total again. Oh my god, so many probes going to be falling. They line up. 7, 10 probes. Oh, hey, can we get more? 10 workers. 10 workers go down. There are Marines in the natural as well. They get an extra probe. Good target firing. We shut down the medevac. And in the end, ShoWTimE will lose 11 workers, but how many gateways are there? 3. 3-gate opener here, 3-gate Blink out of ShoWTimE, which means we defend and immediately we can counterattack. It's going to be on ShoWTimE to reciprocate that damage. He did sustain a lot of losses. 11 probes went down, but he's not done, and he throws down the Dark Shrine. Let's go. Prism is on the way. It's now going to be Spirit's turn to defend. He has 1 tank. 1 tank on the low ground. Voids are being pulled. Oh my god, that's 3 bunkers. Spirit completely walling off here at the natural, but we have Blink, which means we can bypass the natural. We can go into the main. Second tank is about to come out. Does come out just in time. Bunker is done. Now, the main base is significantly less defended than the natural, so we can try to make use of that. ShoWTimE is expanding. He is not all in, but he still is looking for damage. And there we go, forcing a lot of lost mining time there in the natural. Spirit pulling the SCVs. And I'm a little bit concerned here. There we go. Safety turret on the way. Spirit, he's getting ready for Dark Templar. Okay, really good read here from Spirit, just in case. He didn't see the Dark Shrine, but again, he's aware that that's a possibility. Third TC is on the way. And it looks like ShoWTimE is just focusing on containing his opponent. There we go. 3 Dark Templar being warped in. There is a turret at the natural. There's no turret in the main base. And with this Prism, we do slip in. We go for the dive. DT's in the main. DT's in the natural. We can go for the tank. The tank will survive. Tank does somehow survive. Meanwhile, Dark Templar in the natural gets 2 SCVs. But only 2. Prism goes down. Only 1 Dark Templar does survive. And we're getting damage done. Turret's still in production. Where's the scan? There's no scan. But the turrets are done. And throughout all of this, ShoWTimE has been probing. He's been saturating his third base. Spirit just scrambling to defend. And ShoWTimE going for a gateway explosion. That's going to be 7 gates in total. And we're going to charge. Charge is on the way, so charge lot Archon. We have the Dark Templar for Archons. Zealots, of course, as well to help support the ground army. And Spirit, he wants to expand. It's going to be on ShoWTimE to delay the expansion. Let's get 2 Marines. It's an okay trade. Oh. DT comes in. 1 Stalker goes down. We force a scan. Dark Templar slips away as well. Good movement out of ShoWTimE. Spirit, he's committing. ShoWTimE, he comes in from behind. Gets some SCVs. Really good trade here from ShoWTimE. A really good backstab as we get 3 SCVs and we force back the entire army. DT coming in from behind. We kill a tank. Get a tank kill. We lose 2 Stalkers, but we blink to the low ground. We even snipe the meta back. At the same time, Spirit going for his own aggression. Going for a mind drop, but ShoWTimE, he does react in time. Oh, oh my god. That was almost terrifying. 1 probe goes down, so a good cleanup here from ShoWTimE. Meanwhile, Spirit is still stuck on 2 bases. He should be on 3 by now. He should have had a 3rd base, but because of the maneuvering, because of the army movement of ShoWTimE, he did outposition Spirit, and Spirit is stuck on 2 bases. He's stuck on 2 bases that much longer. ShoWTimE is on 4. He has double the base count. Not quite double the economy, but we're getting there. Mind Drop comes back in. Oh. Good split here from ShoWTimE, losing 1 probe. We go for a Hail Mary play, but the probe scouts. ShoWTimE, he sees. He's in position. We go for the warp in. Stalkers are on the way. Spirit, he needs this drop to get some damage done. At the same time, another drop on the left-hand side. Mega Mind Shot, but a full medevac falls. We do have a recall. There is a recall available. ShoWTimE continuing to deny that 3rd. Mind Drop comes back in. There's a shield battery. It's a shield battery, there's an overcharge. There's that recall towards the left-hand side. ShoWTimE is not really losing much. He loses mining time, but that's it. But at least Spirit finally gets his 3rd. It's barely alive. It took a lot of hits, but the 3rd does get up and running. Finally here for Spirits. At the same time, though, Prism into the main, and ShoWTimE, he's not done. He's just getting more damage done. Gets an SCV at the 3rd. Warp it into the main base. 4 SCVs go down, and we do evacuate. And ShoWTimE is taking a 5th. Oh my god, the pace that ShoWTimE is setting here is something that I'm not used to seeing here when it comes to a PvT. When it comes from the Protoss side of things. Like, ShoWTimE is just all over Spirit. He's just not letting him breathe. Zealot counterattack here on the left-hand side. The drop into the main base as well. Spirit, he's being pulled apart. We have the main army pushing in towards the natural. And we could even collapse on these tanks. Where do we go? We ignore the 3rd. We go straight for the natural instead. Bunkers are falling. Force fields are thrown down. Spirit, he's zoned away from his own natural. He cannot come in. It's going to take so long here to rotate around. And by the time he does, there's another army waiting for him. Another wave of force fields as well. That's going to be a kill on the natural base. And ShoWTimE is just snowballing out of control. Tanks, they finally do siege up, but there's barely an army to support them. Wouldn't mind shots. They get avoided. We focus down the tanks. There's 1 tank left, 0 tanks remaining. And even if Spirit deals with this, we still have Zelt in the natural, just camping the production, shutting down these Raxes. GG gets called, and ShoWTimE will take the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Game 1 was back and forth. Game 1 was was much more back and forth, where ShoWTimE had a lead, then Spirit, then ShoWTimE. Like, it was more of a dynamic game. Here in game number 2, ShoWTimE was just able to keep up with everything. There was that one moment, of course, with the Hellion run by, right? The Hellions did a lot of damage, right? They killed 11 probes. It was great. And on top of that, he didn't really take any losses to the Stalkers, but despite that, ShoWTimE still found damage with the follow-up Dark Templar, with his Zealots, with his Stalker movement as well, with his ability to keep up with all the drop play of Spirit. It was very impressive how ShoWTimE was able to achieve so much in the mid-game, getting worker kills, shutting down drops, and also delaying that third and forcing back the army. There was, yeah, so much to that. ShoWTimE was so active in that game, and with that, GG, congratulations. ShoWTimE does take the 2-0.